Hey guys, Caleb here with DSLR Video Shooter, and today I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what I'm calling the ultimate YouTube or content creator's desk setup. Absolutely everything you're going to be seeing in this video will be in the description, so check that out. I've been using this particular setup for 6 months and variations of it for years and years and years, and I love it for making YouTube videos, doing live streams, and of course doing a ton of editing here at the desk. So without further ado, let's hop into the voiceover and get this party started. I figure we'll start with the desk. This is a sit-stand desk from Ikea. I can't remember exactly how much it costs, but it's around $500 or less, and it is electronic. So with the buttons on the far right, I can raise or lower the desk. And of course, you can totally sit and stand, but it's great just to make slight adjustments to relieve different parts of your neck and your elbows. Off to the left side, I have a small stand for my computer and the RAID setup that I use. I've done videos on those in the past, so I won't really focus on those, but it's a Hackintosh and it works great for Final Cut and editing. For my main display, I'm using a Dell 4K 27-inch monitor. I did a video on it. I love it to pieces. It has been the best thing that's happened to this entire setup over the years. To mount that monitor, I have a Visa mount that I also talked about, and all this stuff will be linked to in the description for those curious. Just to the left of my main display, I have a second display that I actually picked up at Goodwill for around $8. And I love that. It's a fantastic little 19-inch monitor for just moving some extra stuff out of the way. I use it a lot of the time for extra information in Final Cut 10 and for my live streams. So it's great to pick up a cheap secondary monitor like that just to hold some extra information and keep your main nice display freed up. To mount that, I have yet another Visa mount, and this one's a fixed arm. And what I love about it is it allows me to get the monitor up out of the way so I can keep proper positioning for my speakers. Speaking of speakers, I am using the Behringer MS40s. These aren't the most expensive or the nicest monitor speakers out there, but what I like about them is A, the cost. They're not that expensive, but they're also legit monitoring speakers. So they're not designed to give you a bunch of bass. They're designed to give you a clean, flat way to hear your audio and check for issues. What's unique about these though is they do have a bass and treble knob. So with those and the front facing bass ports, you can get some seriously bassy stuff out of these. So if you want to enjoy some music or just hear what your videos might sound like on some really bassy speakers, you can totally do that. They're not as high as they should be, but because I have those monitors set up the way I do, I keep them slightly lower on these really cheap wooden stands that I bought off of eBay. For sound, I've used several different audio interfaces, but my favorite so far, and definitely the most powerful, has been my Mackie ProFX 8 version 2. This is definitely overkill if you just make standard YouTube videos, but what I love about it is, first of all, it manages all the output of my sound, whether that be headphones or my studio monitor speakers, but it also has a gazillion different inputs. So the microphone you're listening to me right now is being fed directly into it. I could also hook up 3 more XLR microphones. It has a gazillion different 1/4-inch inputs, tape inputs, RCA connections, and it also has built-in sound effects so you can run different things through it and apply different effects to the actual signal. It also has mute buttons for each of the inputs, which is surprisingly difficult to find with a lot of audio equipment, and it has USB through, so I can actually record anything playing back on my computer, which is really handy when you just need to snag a little clip of audio here or there. And the reason I really bought this was for my live streams, which I do most Wednesday nights. For the microphone arm and system that I'm using, it is a really cheap, newer, around $13, $14 mic arm, which works great. It doesn't need to be super long, so this is totally fine. And then for the microphone, I am using a Rode NTG4. Now, if I was buying stuff for this setup brand new, I probably wouldn't get this microphone, but it works really well for this setup and I already had it. A lot of people have asked me why I use a shotgun microphone and not a different large diaphragm microphone. And the reason for that is with a shotgun microphone, I'm getting as much rejection as possible. I'm in a basement, people are upstairs. I want to only hear what's going on right here. So what's great with this pop filter is I can use it like this right up on my face for voiceovers, or my live stream, but I can also remove it completely and then take the microphone and drop it just out of frame for shooting a YouTube video like this. When I do my live streams, a lot of people have asked me about the pop filter system that I'm using. And it's a really cheap one I found on Amazon. It comes with a built-in little tripod base that sucks. So I took that apart, removed it, and then added my own base. And what I love about it is the microphone and the pop filter move together. Not to mention it's really affordable and not too bulky. Underneath the desk to the left side, I have 3 different SD card readers. Now this might seem overkill to a lot of people, but when you're shooting with multiple cameras and different audio recorders, it is so nice to have plenty of ways to plug in SD cards and import everything all at the same time. I also have 2 SSD readers for my video recorders near the back of the desk, so I can just plug those in. Nothing fancy, just really cheap SATA to USB 3 connectors. Now I'll move on to the thing that most likely stuck out to you the most with this setup, and that is my camera and lighting setup for the live streams. Let's start with the light stand because that holds everything, and that is an Impact C stand. I have it just to the right of my computer, and the stand is going up with an arm extending over the desk. It's a standard C mount arm, and at the end of it, I've added a 5/8 spigot where I can add lights of any variety. The light in particular that I'm using is a Falcon Eyes 12T. This is a really lightweight LED matte that is super bright, dimmable, really dig it. And that's what I've been using at this desk for all of my live streams, and I really like it. I am using the softbox accessory, which is just big enough to give you some nice soft light at most distances. The controller for the light is just off to the right, hanging on the stand, so I can turn it on and off and adjust the brightness. Also attached to that same arm and stand, I have my G7, which I use for the live streams and some recording at my desk. I have kind of a janky cage setup that I slapped together, but essentially there is a cage around the camera, and the cage and camera are mounted to the actual C-stand arm with a friction arm and a nano clamp. So it lets me adjust the camera just to the right height, rotate it, tilt it, all that good stuff. The reason I have it mounted to this stand is I can take the whole thing and boom it up and out of the way if I need to, and it's all nice and self-contained. I also am able to remove the camera if I want to use it in the rest of the studio. For the video ingesting or capturing process, there is an HDMI cable running from the camera down the stand and into a small capture box I have on the left side of my desk. This essentially takes the HDMI signal and converts it to a USB 3 connection, and it shows up in most video software, and that's what I use in OBS to have kind of a face or webcam setup. And I love it because with the nicer camera, I'm able to get some shallow depth of field, have autofocus, and all of that fun stuff. Finally, we have a couple little oddball accessories. First, I have a Logitech Webcam up into the one side. This is what I used before I got my G7 HDMI setup, and it works really well if you're on a budget. Obviously, it saves a ton of money, and right now I use it as a second camera angle if I want to show people stuff on my desk. Speaking of the desk, for the keyboard and mouse, I'm using kind of a no-name mechanical keyboard, which I really like, and it's not that expensive. And for the mouse, I'm using a Corsair gaming mouse, and I really dig it. There is a sniper button on the side, which sounds really dumb, but essentially you can program it to change the speed of the mouse, and I use that when I'm doing video editing. So if I hold that button down, my mouse is crazy slow, which is really helpful for fine-tuning edits. The whole mat is sitting on a massive Glorious PC Gaming Race mouse pad, and I love this thing so much. Freedom of mouse movement. I also do some gaming here in the office when I get time, which isn't that often, so having something like this is really nice. It also really helps brighten the otherwise very dark space, which is actually a feature because this whole setup is really designed for video processing, post-production, and getting videos done and out to you guys. So having a darker space really does help with color correction and not having issues there. So this is what I'm calling the ultimate YouTuber desk. It's great for actually capturing video, whether at the desk or doing live streams. And of course, it's really designed for me to edit as quickly as possible and make sure that my videos are as top notch as I can get them for you guys. If you want to check out any of the things that I use on this setup, check the link in the description. You'll find it all down there. Also, ask me any questions you might have, and I'll do my best to get to those in the comments below. Otherwise, you can watch fresh videos here at DSLR Video Shooter every single Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.